I wasn't going to talk about this. I just came down here, grab my water bottle, and go back upstairs. It's better. So this is in response to all that stupid video. There's lots of stupid videos of Donald Trump by saying that we should join America to have better health care. Bullshit. Period. Full stop. It's a way for your cronies to make more money off of poor people. Here is my life. So I think I talked about this before, but if I haven't, this is not a huge shock. So a couple years back, I started getting tinnitus, and this year I ignored it, much to my chagrin. Okay, so here's a lesson for you guys. Safety lesson, safety tip. If your ears start doing the ringing and or buzzing and or I just got a constant IE in my ear, seek medical advice immediately. Because what happened for me is I waited a year. And then when I finally went and saw a doc about it, he says, if you saw me the first day or two after that happened, they might have been able to fix it. But now it's healed to where it is. What happened was that Josh and I were swimming. I've been equalizing my entire life. I always want to equalize. I don't know what happened. I drove to the bottom of the pool, and all of a sudden there was a sharp ice pick. Felt like an ice pick in my ear. I came back up. The pain went away after a fashion. And yet the noise is still there. And it's not loud, which is a thankful thing for me. But when it's silent, I hear it. It's just constant. It's not ringing continuously. But in a conversation, or if there's some noise, minor noise, not like 30 decibel noise, I don't notice it. But the second it's quiet, it's there. Like when I'm sleeping at night, it's there. So I went and saw a doc. An EMT, ears, nose, and throat doctor. And he looked at it, and he sent me off to get an MRI. And that MRI was scheduled because it was an emergency, so it wasn't that day, but it was scheduled a couple weeks later, and I got the MRI, and he got back to me, and the ENT said, Dave, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about the tinnitus. But, Dave, we saw something, on the MRI, that could be potentially, he's not concerned, but could be potentially something we should be concerned about. So he says, we're going to wait 6 months, not because of scheduling, not because of anything else, but what they're going to do is they're going to do a comparison between the MRI I had the week before and the one I'm going to have in 6 months. So we waited 6 months, and that was December. And I went, got my second MRI. It was fine. And so they had the two to compare it to. And they said it hasn't changed, but there's this little spot the size of your small fingernail on the base of my brain. Yes, there's something on my brain. But it's not even on the brain. It's on the sac around, it's like the baggie holding my brain in my head. There's a cork in it. Basically, there's a little growth on it, and it hasn't changed in 6 months. So the doctor himself, the ENT, says this potentially is nothing for the rest of your life. It's probably been there for decades. We just noticed it when we did the MRI for your ear, and it hasn't changed at all in 6 months. So he also said to me, if you do experience literally anything odd that you've never experienced before, pain or discomfort, headaches, whatever, come and see me immediately. Perfect. So that's my marching orders. He says, but I've seen this before, and there's nothing to worry about unless it changes, but it didn't change in 6 months. If you want, you can, and he says to me, if you want, you can book another MRI a year, 2, 5 down the road, and go get it scanned again, and we'll compare it to this one. Perfect. So I have that. And so that's 2 trips. Actually, more than 2 trips, because I saw him, blah, blah. 4 or 5 trips about this all together, to the hospital, to the doctors, to the professionals, to, all these guys. And a grand total of $20 for parking. For parking. Now, That said, I know I am blessed. Again, I talk about how blessed my life is. I know that I'm blessed to live in the Golden Horseshoe. I'm not out in Tuktoyaktuk. I'm not out in Moose Jaw. I'm not out in Red Deer. I'm not out where the doctors don't want to go. So I fully understand. I fully appreciate the pain of people out there who don't have access to a family practitioner. I fully understand that. And we are working on that, according to what I've been told. But that's a provincial thing, not a federal thing. But anyway, the provinces have to get better. But anyway, so there's that. 2 full MRIs of my head, and doctor's visits, and specialists and whatever, and discussions on the phone and blah blah. $20. So something happened this week, and we won't go into that. Part of my week, of how great my week is. But I went over to Emerge. I just went over to Emerge. Went there. I said, I have this blank, 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 blah, blah, blah. And I'm slightly concerned about it. And I sat in triage. I sat in the waiting room. I was the next number to be called. Went in there, triage. Took my blood pressure, took my oxygen. Go back into room 6. Didn't have to go back to the waiting room. Again, this is the one end of example. Where I walked in the door, got reception immediately, got my number, got called in the triage. Basically, immediately we sat down for 2 seconds, got called in triage, and then sent to a room. Didn't even go back to the waiting room. And the doc came and saved me within 5 minutes. They said they took some blood. They said they're going to look at it immediately, and they got back to me in 20 minutes. I was not there for half an hour at the Emerge. Now, I also understand fully, completely, that is an exception, as an outlier on this end. The outlier on the other end is I have been in that waiting room for 2 or 3 hours, and the place is packed with sneezing kids and people with broken arms and need stitches, and I have no problem waiting. I have no problem, zero problem for 2 or 3 hours, because unless I'm dying, unless there's like blood coming out my nose or my eyes, I'm there because I have not the flu, but I have some sort of injury. I can wait. When I had my AFib, I waited, but again, I was taken care of in a just time manner. Again, I'm also in the Golden Horseshoe. That's what's happened. So, but yesterday or the other day, I can't remember when it was, but I went in, boom, boom. I was home in half an hour. And what did it cost me? $6 for parking. $6. I have a friend in Jersey who I worked with. He married himself a fine Canadian girl. And when they got pregnant, where did they move to? Guess, all you American, I love our health care. Guess where they moved to when they found out they were pregnant? Because she's Canadian and he's American, and they were living in Jersey. Guess where they married to the second they got pregnant? I wonder what country has a lot of maternity benefits for them. I wonder what country has really good health care for them that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. So this buddy of mine who lives in Jersey tells me a story. He says he was renovating his house to sell it down there in Jersey. He cuts his finger. He has to go to the hospital. 5 stitches, $5,000 for 5 stitches. Now you say, oh, but all your taxes are going to the healthcare. I saw in the past 20 years, I don't know how, I've had a few MRIs, all the stuff with Sandy, all my gallbladder emergency, everything, Josh, blah, blah. Costs us nothing. You know what peace of mind that is? Do you have any idea the cost of peace of mind that our healthcare system, and it's just as good as yours. We have the same specialists. It's not like we're a third world country. It's mind-boggling that there are Canadians who want the American healthcare system up here. It blows my mind because, again, if it's for profit, they're not going to be in Tuktoyaktuk. They're not going to be in Red Deer. They're not going to be out butt fart nowhere. There's no money there. They're not going to be out there. It's going to be worth healthcare across the board for normal, hardworking people. For the rich people, it's going to be great because they got the thousands of dollars. They can have private doctors. So it's all about the rich. And you guys, us guys out in the peons, on the trenches, us peons who are just scrounging together, trying to get a sustenance to get to the next week. And you guys are buying this. You guys are eating this up. You guys, we have to have American selling. We're going to become the 51st state because it's going to be better for us. I can guarantee all you people who are out there on the streets with your little placards and your little signs saying, whoa, Trump is the best. When you become the 51st state, Trump doesn't care about you. Doesn't care about you. All those people that you saw on television who are pro-Trump on the election trail, pro-Trump. We have to get Trump because he's going to do all this stuff good. Their families are being deported, and now they're crying. I didn't know he was going to do this. How did you not know he was going to do this? I knew he was going to do this, and I'm Canadian. I knew exactly what he's going to do, and he screwed you all over. He screwed you all over for his rich people. This whole tariff thing for his rich people. All this stuff. He's gonna take over the Great Lakes again for his rich friends. That's all it is. Anyway, I'm not gonna get upset about it again. But smarten up. The oligarchs are just loving you. They are just loving you because you are just kowtowing to what they want you to say. Like Bernie Sanders has been like talking for ages about what they could be doing in the States and what they could be doing better in the States. Liz Warren, all those people. And you guys, oh no, we can't, socialism, the evil of society. Go screw yourself. Again, I didn't want this to be another rant, but it's going to turn into another rant. It's just so disheartening to see what's going on today. Canadians who want to become the 51st state. I think they're all bots, by the way. I haven't met an actual Canadian on the streets that says, I want to become part of America, except they want the guns. The NFA, they want the guns. I said NFA on purpose because that's Canadian, not the NRA, which is American. Would you guys start smartening up and actually pay attention to what's going on? We do not have the NRA up here. We do not have the Second Amendment up here. I saw this TikTok the other day where this guy was filming in front of a strip mall. He was filming people coming and going because he was like one of these little libertarian, I'm filming the people coming and going because I have to keep an eye on them. And the Canadian police officer walks up to him and says, can I see your license and registration, please? Because he's filming from his car. And the guy goes, I have my First Amendment. Not up here, dude. Not up here. The police are allowed to ask you for identification for just being suspicious. That's not against the First Amendment because we don't have our First Amendment is about Manitoba or something like that. I forgot all about it. If you're going to start ranting about how bad our government and our society and our laws are, know what they are to rant against. It's like I remember talking to, because I got into this whole I was right into the culture of noisemakers, the little fart cans that people were putting on their cars and the police were cracking down on them 3 or 4 or 10 years ago. And I got on a whole bunch of threads. Section 75 of the DHTA, look it up. The Ontario Highway Traffic Act, look it up. There's actually a section in Section 75 that says if your vehicle is making an undue noise, too loud a noise, then the cops can give you a ticket for it. The end. And they're picking on us noisemakers, us guys who soup up our little Supras and put the little fart cans on the back that when you're zipping around the neighborhood at 105 decibels at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, you're a malcontent. You are a they're picking on us because we're let the kids have fun. 105 decibels. You know what 105 decibels does to your ears? Of course, I look into this now because I have tinnitus. You know what 105 decibels does to your ears after a 5 minutes exposure? 80 is at the top level. 90 is bad. 100, you should be wearing headphones, like ear protection. 105, 115. Oh, but I love the sound. I love how it makes me feel. You are waking up your neighborhood because you love how it feels. You're zipping around the neighborhood with something that's waking up your neighbors and making the dogs bark because you like how it feels. Malcontent. Ne'er-do-well. Those two things have to come back into fashion. This whole society right now is all full of self-righteous, self-serving, self-centered malcontents. Absolutely. They used to get mad at me when I used to point it out. It's HTA, the Highway Traffic Act. You signed a legally binding agreement when I didn't sign off on when you got your license, when you got your driver's license, you signed that you would obey the regs in the HTA. No, I didn't read the whole book. The HTA is a huge book. I did read the driver's handbook, but the HTA is a huge book. But those little white signs on the highway that says 100, that's the actual law. 110 now. Again, nobody, oh, people speed all the time. Yeah, they do. And again, it is what it is. But that little Timmy, jumping off a pier doesn't mean you get to jump off a pier. And doing 120 on a highway that's doing like close to 110 is something you're going to compare to blowing out people's ears. Like if all the traffic's doing 120 and nobody's getting injured by it and we're all doing it, not say I'm doing it, we're all doing it, and you're comparing that to you're waking up your neighbors at 3 o'clock in the morning, zipping up and on the roads, malcontent. Me doing 120, or you doing 120 in a 110 zone, and everybody else is doing 120, not malcontent. It's wrong. It's wrong, but you're still a malcontent. Are they malcontents? But waking your neighbors up, absolutely. It's. I talked about this moral virtue versus moral commandment, basically. Not commandment, but something else. There's moral virtue. Don't throw litter on the ground. I mean, that's moral commandment. Do not throw litter on the ground. Moral virtue is picking up litter that's already on the ground. You like at bare minimum, you should not negatively impact your neighbors, your people around you, or your family, or your friends, or your society. You should not negatively impact them by whatever you're doing. You should not ever negatively impact, just for your own sake of happiness, you should not negatively impact other people by doing what you want to do. If you want to zip around with a fart can on the back of your car, go to the track, because that's what it's built for. Go out on private property, all you want. Go zip around 100 acres up there and wherever, whatever track, and get, oh, that feels so good. I love the noise. I love the vibrations coming through the car. Whatever, dude, knock yourself out. On private property, within the law, you knock out, you do whatever you want. But on our public highways that we all have to share with one another, no. No, 105 plus decibels is not right to be out there. Anyway, this wasn't going to be we're already gone 70 minutes. If you are doing anything, if you are doing literally anything, just for your own sake of happiness, that negatively impacts somebody else, then you're doing something wrong. Then you are malcontent. That's the exact definition of malcontent. Somebody who upsets the status quo for their own happiness. If you're upsetting the status quo for legitimate reasons, like if there are laws out there that shouldn't be there and you want to protest them and you want to break them because they should be broken, you're not a malcontent. You're changing, you want to change the laws. Martin Luther King, not a malcontent. He wanted to change the laws, the Civil Rights Act. He wasn't a malcontent. Legally he was, but he wasn't. We all know this. He wasn't a malcontent. You riding your fart can around at 3 o'clock in the morning, waking your neighbors up, malcontent. And if you cannot discern, if you can't understand the difference between somebody standing up for people against the law, somebody saying that these laws are unjust laws. These laws are, like, again, not to go into Martin Luther King and all that stuff, but there were unjust laws there that were negatively impacting his people. Our people, we're all people. All society is affected. If one of us is diminished, all of us are diminished. It's socialism. If one of us suffers, we all suffer. This is socialism. A rising tide lifts all boats. That's socialism. But if you're driving around in your fart car and you say, oh, I'm so happy I get to have this noise at 3 o'clock in the morning driving around the neighborhood. Is anybody else happy you're doing it? Are you negatively disrupting other people's lives? Are you? Yes, you are. Oh, but all those big machineries when they're doing road construction or city construction or whatever, all those big diesel engines and all those big huge excavators and the big huge bulldozers and all those machines, they're all so loud and they disturb the neighborhood. That was their response, by the way. And then going, do you know how well regulated? Do you know how well regulated that machinery is and the specific hours? I know this, by the way, because we are going to get a lot of work done behind our house here because we're building a brand new retaining wall because the old one's kind of given away. And they had to put in there not just because the Niagara Escarpment Commission asked for it, but our own condo asked for it, that the hours of operation of these machines has to be between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And if there's any work done to be done outside that requires that machinery, and there's going to be not loud, but there's going to be excavators, and there's going to be bobcats, and there's going to be all that stuff during the day, doing the stuff Monday to Friday. If they work on Saturday, they have to get a special assessment or a special notification to us, and then we have to authorize it. Oh, we do work on a Saturday, and we have to say yes. So between 9 and 5, the machinery is going to be back there, and I can guarantee you, every piece of machinery back there is going to be quieter, less decibels than your fart can. Anybody who drives around a noisemaker is a malcontent. Period. Full stop. Don't come at me, bro. That's just who you are. You don't give a flying fig about society, the society you live in. You don't care. The people who are in the convoy don't care about society. They don't care. People who voted for Trump don't care about society. People who voted for Trump and all the crap that you've seen, has he reduced the cost of anything living at all? No. He just keeps on throwing shit against the wall, see what sticks. Malcontents. All of you. You might have thought, oh, he's gonna do all this good stuff. You didn't start to not the smart people, because people who voted for Trump, some I actually know, and they're pretty smart. I don't know what it is. It's not smart. It's not intelligence. Though in the end, it's common sense, and it's understanding the person that you're dealing with. And I'm not a psychologist by any stretch, but this guy's a narcissist. Malcontents display that fully, and the fart cans, all the noise makers, the same thing. Malcontents, narcissists, because they're all they have to fight back with is, I want to have my freedom to do what I want, which is to negatively impact other people. If you are doing anything that unrighteously negatively impacts other people, give your head a shake. You're just doing it wrong. Anyway, but all that said, I like our healthcare system. It's not perfect. It's seriously not perfect. It needs a lot of work. It's been neglected for so long, going back to Mike Harris and even pre-Mike Harris. And politicians are afraid to actually fix it because they're going to get outvoted, or I don't care. It has to be fixed. But our healthcare system in Canada is far better for everybody. For everybody, from the poor to the rich. For everybody, for every Canadian. Our healthcare system is better than the one the American has, because the American system neglects the people who cannot pay. Oh, but they can go to the charity hospitals. Yeah, they could. Yeah, they could. Are they going to get the same help they get from the public, the money grubbing hospitals? No. It's like, oh my God. Listen to yourselves talk. Oh, we have to have our Second Amendment. We need the freedom to stand up to the man. The man's got F-14s or F-35s, but I don't care. I'm not even going to go to that topic. If you follow a narcissist, then there's something fundamentally wrong with your understanding of how people work. This guy walked all over you. Pierre's walking all over you. He's just going to use you. And the second he's elected, what happened? Nothing. Donald Trump, for the poor people, nothing. He screwed him over, nothing. Deported their friends, nothing. Family gone, nothing. Eggs are $16 a carton, nothing. He's done nothing for you. All you people, all you lower middle class people, done nothing for you. And yet everybody's pissed at our prime minister for not being the best person in the entire universe. But he's a damn sight better. It's just, I don't know, there's so many things in my head. It just gets so, again, I'm also at the age now where I don't have to care. This is sad. I do have a kid, so I do care. And I have my kids' friends and my family's kids' friends and all that stuff. But me, I'm set. As long as no huge thing happens, I'm set. I can retire tomorrow and just live in a trailer and drive around the country and eat at restaurants and have to have my life. See if I don't have to do anything else now. I've done my bit for King and Country. I've done everything to get myself to where I am today. I worked my ass off in so many ways. I worked my ass off. I worked hard, even last week, which is something else. But but I love it. I love my job, so I didn't care. I never felt like work to me in 35 years of doing IT. But in the end, I'm perfectly fine. If we go privatize, I'm going to be perfectly fine because I have what I have, right? But I don't think about me. I think about society. I think about how when I'm living in an old age home, no, hopefully 30 years, that I'm going to have to be taken care of by smart people who had a good education, which they're not getting in the States. I'm going to have to think about all this stuff. Like, I don't know. There's so many moving parts here. And it's just every day something else changes. I'm just going to play Lego. Because in the end, that's going to be fine for me. I came down here just to talk about healthcare in Canada and how this week made me really appreciate it. And even my MRI things and my tinnitus really made me appreciate it. And historically with the other things I have going on that are now benign and, whatever, that I appreciate that. I really do. My AFib was a day of me in the hospital for 8-10 hours. And I paid for parking. I was in the hospital for 10 hours. My emergency gallbladder, I was there for 2 nights. I was in the hospital for the weekend after Frick Awesome. I was in the hospital. 2 hospitals, by the way. West Lincoln and the Chervinsky says, Sandy, I was high on drugs. I don't remember. I was on morphine. Oh, look at the pretty colors. So that weekend but I was there for 2 days. Emergency gallbladder surgery at midnight. I was the last. I wasn't even supposed to be scheduled that night. They kept on saying if the schedule frees up, and they had all these emergencies come in, which is, again, perfectly, because they kept an eye on me. I was going to be fine to the morning. But right at 11 o'clock, thankfully Sandy was there because I'm high on drugs. I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, oh, look at the pretty colors. The doc comes in right at the end of the day of his like long day, because he kept on coming in for like 12 hours saying, oh, we were going to book you for 2, but more ambulances showed up and blah, blah. He said, this can wait till tomorrow morning. You're fine. You're on the morphine. Nothing's going to happen between now and tomorrow morning with your gallbladder. And Sandy goes, well, what about his fever that he just started getting? Because I had just started spiking a fever. Because I was perfectly normal fever temperature for the day. And he was keeping an eye on it. But the nurse came by 5 minutes before, took my temperature, and oh, it's a little higher. And the doc came in 5 minutes later. I guess he didn't see my updated chart. And he says, oh, yeah, we can wait till tomorrow. And Sandy goes, what is the fever? What? Give me that chart. Now. And again, called everybody back in. Anesthesiologist, OR, beep, beep, beep. It was like watching Dr. Jubal Early and Dr. Brackett. It was fantastic. It's like, I was going right back to emergency when I was a kid. But anyway, they took me in, and at midnight, past their time that they're supposed to be home, and they cut, suture, pop it out, laparoscopic, and they said I could have waited till morning. They would have had it done the surgery in the morning, but they would have had it done the full surgery in the morning, like cut me all open. Have all my insides outside. They did it laparoscopic, and they said the gallbladder was starting to swell, starting to get infected. And they were thinking halfway through the laparoscopic, they're going to have to make the hole bigger to pull out that gallbladder. But anyway, the next day, I wake up, I have no gallbladder. Call Sandy. A couple hours later, come pick him up. She picked me up, paid $6 for parking, and we left the hospital. 2.5 days I was in the hospital for parking. And if you don't think that that's peace of mind is worth anything, you do not know what but I work so hard for my money, and you guys get taxed at 52%. No, we don't. It's like 35, whatever. I don't care about the tax rate. It doesn't matter. I make enough money to get what I want. I'm not into buy a $500,000 yacht or a $500 million yacht, as some people are buying. If money is that important to you, for you to hoard your money, then there's also something you should look at. It is something that I've becoming very, very cognizant of, as the old saying goes, like if you come across a pack of monkeys deep in the jungle, and you saw one monkey hoarding all the bananas, and the other ones couldn't have it, and he like fights all the other ones off, and he steals all the bananas to himself. They would look at the anthropologist or whatever, and they say there's something wrong with that monkey. We should figure out what's genetically wrong with that monkey. But if we have somebody hoarding all their wealth, and they put them on the front cover of Forbes. It's like, yeah, that one makes perfect sense to me. But anyway, again, I'm gonna go to bed, and after I put all these guys in here, because I do have all my dark gray now, or my light gray turntables, which are gonna keep them. Yay! But notice how they take up the entire side here, and without any room left over for anything else. So that is one side of just black and gray. These are all blay, and these are all the gray with the 3 fingers on it. So I'm gonna put them again, like Jeffy's. I'm gonna put them in here. I'll put it right there we go. So that's the turntables are done. I think I'm just gonna get rid of all the blaze. I don't want them. That's Blade. Me and Blade don't get along. I'm gonna get my new Ziploc out. That's what I've been doing. So at the 30-minute mark, I'm actually doing the Lego. So whoever made it here gets to see this. What they actually came here to see is me playing with Lego. So what happens is that when I do any one of these sorts, all the pieces that are overflow get into a Ziploc, and that'll just be put aside. So now that that's done, I'm going to now go into, pull out all the 1x2 finger hinges, because I like those better overall. But then I'll also separate the click hinges, which there's the click hinges, guys. So I'm gonna separate all those guys out. Yeah, the click hinges right there. Now the click hinges are better for making little mechs and stuff. Click. Always cool. So I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna put in those, even those long ones. So I don't even know what that is. Do I wash that? Do I not wash that? I don't know. I should. It's amazing what you find when you start cleaning up. But all the stuff that's gonna be overflow is gonna be overflow, and then I'm gonna put them all in Ziploc and be done with it. So that's what I'm going to keep on doing. Thanks, Jeffy W, for your patented sorting method. And I'll talk to everybody soon. Take care. Bye.